There. 50 what?
Okay.
I
All
believe it.
right, we're gonna go live in a minute. You know.
I get my water in.
Who's coming in? Oh, Valencia's coming in. We're going
No,
live.
that's for
We're going live, girl.
All right.
Hey, Mo,
Hey, Ricky.
the doctor is in.
The doctor is in. Happy Wednesday. Happy Woosah Wellness Hump Day. Woo! Wednesday, because here it is, middle of the week, end of the month. It is almost September. Can you believe
I
it?
know. What happened to the summer? I feel like the summer just, how come February takes like 3 years and July and August take a week? Like, I don't get that. I don't
Sounds
get
like
that.
the kids. They're not ready to go back to school just yet.
I
Let me
know.
tell you. Yeah.
I know, Belle starts her first day of kindergarten
Oh my
on
goodness.
Monday. I have a 5-year-old granddaughter. And so she's gonna ride the bus. Like, she insists on riding the bus. And so there's gonna be a trail of cars behind her, behind the bus. to
So
the
what you're
school.
saying is she has her own parade, right?
Right,
She's
there's
got
gonna be a parade behind the school bus to kindergarten on Monday, but
Oh my
there's so much
goodness.
to go.
Well, we got a parade today on the show,
We
and
do.
these ladies deserve a parade because going through a breast cancer journey is difficult. It's difficult with a spouse, it's difficult without a spouse, it's difficult when you tell somebody, it's difficult when you don't tell anybody. And it doesn't matter your age or your stage, hearing that diagnosis never gets any easier. But for some people, we want to talk about the different facets of life with breast cancer. And this is one that doesn't get nearly enough attention. And so we're talking about being single today with breast cancer, because doctors need to ask and check in, and we need to make sure that our communities are supporting, and people are single by choice and happy and living their best lives too. And I think that, when we look at the spectrum of support services we offer, it's always about the couple and the partner. And, we need to make sure that we are helping people address the fullness of their lives and experience with breast cancer. So we're going to bust it up today.
We are gonna bust it up, and we have breasties coming out of the woodwork. It's so funny because we had, 3 lovely breasties planned, Alonda and Chardell and Linda. And then people started calling me today. Like, I want to talk about this. So we don't know who's going to show up. We just saw Valencia Tribe. Tancherelle joined us. So why don't we go around and introduce you guys? Linda, will you start and introduce yourself? And let's just do introductions, then we'll come back and do stories. Okay.
So I'm Linda. I'm outside of Philadelphia and really happy to be with you all today.
Great. And how long have you been, tell us where your breast cancer journey, just.
So I can tell. Okay, so I was diagnosed December 30th of 2021. And so it was early DCIS stage 0. So some said it wasn't real cancer. So
that's a whole nother show we're gonna do, stage 0.
Okay.
We'll call you about that one, because that's definitely, we've had a lot about stage 0 and the therapy for that. All right, Alonda, where are you from?
Hello, I'm Alonda. I am from Seattle, Washington. I was diagnosed on August 23rd, 2021 with hormone positive stage 2 invasive ductal carcinoma. And thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here and share my story and my perspective.
Right, all these COVID babies, all these COVID breasties. Chardell, who's good friends with our Latoya.
Hi, I'm also a COVID breastie as well. I'm from Akron, Ohio. Thank you for having me today. I was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer September 2nd of 2020, HER2 positive.
Great. Wow, not COVID, right? And Tancherelle, looks like you're moving.
Yeah, I was trying to adjust. I'm in the bed. I had chemo today. So I am, I'm over here just trying to cognitively keep it together. But I was diagnosed with a hormone positive cancer in my left breast. It was evasive, locally advanced, and they said it was stage 2A before they went in. After they went in and started the removal process for my double mastectomy, it was probably more of a 3 because there was a mass in my lymph node, shockingly. So that was a joy. I woke up with tissue expanders thinking that I was going in to get my breast reconstructed and the stuff removed. But, that's a whole story in itself. The lack of awareness, you just go in and hope that they figure it out.
All these young babies. Oh my gosh, we got to get rid of this disease, Mo.
We will.
Yeah, I'm
we will.
39. I met a girl that was like 21 who's in my organization. I have a nonprofit. She's 21, had a double mastectomy. Hers was a stage 1.
Like our
We did
art.
the double in. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. And Karen, you're on mute, honey.
Hello, ladies. Hey, doctor. Was stage 3 Herceptin, HER2 positive. I had Herceptin, HER2 positive. I was diagnosed in 2003. I am a 19-year survivor.
She just had her anniversary.
Oh, and I'm from Washington, D.C. I live in Maryland. I'm sorry.
All right, good to see you.
Yeah. All right. Who wants to share a story? Just share your story, Alonda. Go for it. Just tell us give us a quick snapshot. So 2021, in the middle of COVID.
Yes, late August, August 23rd, I got the shock of a lifetime. Of course, you think, that would never happen to me. And here it was, I have breast cancer. And that day, I feel like it was just a roller coaster journey from that point on. Doctor's appointments, lots of decisions to make in terms of the type of surgery, treatment, chemo, work considerations, how am I going to pay the bills? Will I get sick? Will I just all these questions and, things, am I going to die? It's just a complete roller coaster. And I had a lumpectomy with a reduction in lift in October. Then I started chemo in December. And then in June, I started radiation. And I'm happy to say that I finished active treatment in July. And now I'm starting hormone therapy and also a targeted therapy. And I, navigated this journey, as a happily single woman, which I think can have some benefits and also some challenges when you don't have anyone there constantly to assist with, the journey, the bumpy ride that it is.
Right. Linda, you want to tell a story?
Yeah, so with my diagnosis, I'm thankful for mammogram, just the routine mammogram. And when I got the call that says we see something on both breasts, it was like, okay, this can't be real, because not in my family history, never would have anticipated that's what I would have. And so that whole diagnostic journey of, is it cancer in both, and having to get the different MRIs, that part I think is the not knowing until you know is probably the most stressful. And so was able to get, it was only in one breast, so I was able to get a lumpectomy, then completed my radiation treatment May, and then started the hormone therapy in June. And so on the journey, was really grateful, even though Dr. Mo wasn't my doctor. As soon as I got my diagnosis, I started texting, right? And as a single person, you really, it was also COVID. So where normally you'd have people with you, around you, in this environment, you're afraid to have anybody near you, because the last thing you want to do is get sick and have this timeline interrupted because you're dealing with COVID. So you really had to manage, and just knowing that there were resources. A friend of mine also has a nonprofit focused on breast cancer based out of Chicago. So I didn't realize I had this amazing network until I was in crises, and so felt grateful that I had that because that helped me get through it. But often I was able to advocate for myself because I had knowledgeable people. I felt I was able to ask very informed questions. I was able to challenge sometimes. And I just kept wondering, everybody doesn't have that. So how do people get through this process if you don't have that support? So I came through it with an immense amount of gratitude for the journey, and just keep saying, what did I learn and what can I do now that I've been through what I've been through?
Wow, Linda, you bring up a really interesting point, because I don't know how many of you were even allowed to bring family members with you during your journey, during this treatment, during COVID. Were you allowed to bring anyone in?
No.
How about any of the other breasties who were diagnosed and or receiving treatment during COVID? Were you able to bring anyone with you?
I was in Atlanta. Everything was normal. Like COVID didn't
Atlanta was
hit,
like,
so-
yeah, Atlanta, yeah, Georgia and Texas and Florida, right? We're like a different.
Lord have mercy. Well, that's a different show altogether right there too. But I think that, not having that is something that folks have really taken for granted, because you don't realize the support that's missing until you don't have it there, until you can't bring it through the door. Right. And I'm glad that you were able to have someone there, but what about those folks who are maybe don't have anyone, but also maybe who are opting not to tell their family members? What about their support, and how do we offer them what they need? Because sometimes family isn't the support that you need, right? I mean, let's just be honest.
Yeah, and one thing I would like to piggyback off of what Linda said is that you have to be an advocate for yourself. I was just there yesterday getting another mammogram. And because they didn't have the doctor's order, I told her I needed a diagnostics mammogram. She says, "Oh no, we're not doing a diagnostics." I said, "Oh yes, you are." And she's, she said, "Because you did one 2 years ago and they found some clusters in my breast, which came out to be negative. But the point is, they found the first one in 2009 and they didn't tell me about it." So you really have to stay on top of them. You have to ask them, "Let me see my film side by side from one radiation, from one mammogram to the next," because most of the time they're not being honest with you. And for you to tell me that you found something in 2009 and now I have clusters and I have to have another procedure, and now you're telling me, "Well, we're not going to do a diagnosis." Oh yes, you will. Because this is going to happen. So it's a good thing that you know to advocate for yourself and speak up.
Did you get it yesterday?
Yes, I did.
And
And yeah.
You go, girl. Or tell your story. Tell your story, Karen.
Yeah. So when I was going through breast cancer, I no one talked about it, and I didn't know what it was. So I was totally in the dark. And there were a lot of things that the doctors were telling you. They were rushing me through treatment, because I still wanted to have kids. And he told me at the time, "Oh, you're too old to have kids." And, it just slapped me down. I didn't even have an opportunity. I was trying to get my eggs frozen, and they just rushed me through the process. And I remember one particular time that I went to the doctor and I had my treatment, and I got extremely sick. I could not get out of bed. So I didn't go and have my next treatment because my cell count was real low. And they threatened to call the police on me if I didn't show up. So right away I was in the study, the Herceptin study, because I had HER2 positive. And so I called the people that I were in the study with at Sibley Hospital, and they immediately found me another doctor. And I never went back to that doctor. So you have to be able to speak up for yourself. Fire your doctor if you have to. That is the most important thing. Don't feel that you have to stay with that particular doctor. I had a network of really good friends, but at the time I was dating someone. And like doctors said, it's not always the person you expect to show up, because it's not going to be that person. And you have to let that person go, because my friend did not show up. But I had a wealth of good friends that did show up and helped me through the process.
Wow. Wow. Who wants to go next? I'm like getting quiet because I can't take this. It's a lot.
I guess I'll go.
Yeah, go for you.
I was diagnosed on September 2nd in 2020. However, I had found a lump in my breast in April of the same year. So I do have a family history of breast cancer. My mother have had breast cancer twice. My grandmother had it. Her sister had it. Her sister's daughter had it. So it's definitely, I did test positive for BRCA1, the BRCA1 gene. So I knew to do my self-examinations every month. And if they find anything, I've been getting mammograms since I was 16.
Wow.
But I felt the lump in April, but I had just lost my job and COVID had hit and they weren't seeing anyone unless you were dying, pretty much. So that was the hardest thing. And then got another job in May, finally got insurance, and they finally took me in August. And we did a mammogram. And when they find something, they tend to say, okay, we need to call you back in, do another mammogram from another angle, and they keep you there. So about 2 days later, they told me, I did the biopsy, then they called me September 2nd at 9/11 and told me that I tested positive for breast cancer. HER2 positive, I've done chemo. I always say I got the deluxe package. I had chemo twice, radiation, total hysterectomy, had my gallbladder removed. So it's,
Oh my God.
yeah, I had literally the entire package.
All the things. All the
Yes.
things.
I'm
Yes,
blown
and-
away that you can make a joke and call it the deluxe package because it
I know,
is
I know.
I
it is
mean,
quite a deluxe there, sis.
yeah, it is. And I'm glad we're talking about being a self-advocate because, being single and not having another set of ears to listen for you or with you, sometimes you can miss something here and there. But with my second chemo, because I'm HER2 positive, I had to get on Kadcyla. I was not aware that I had to go on Kadcyla. So I ended up getting 2 more opinions from another oncologist. And then my boss at the time, his wife had breast cancer. So he reached out to her oncologist to see, if Kadcyla was the correct path for someone with HER2 positive. So that helped me make my decision. Now, when it came to the surgery, that was, I had to let go of my plastic surgeon because he just wasn't listening to what I was saying and what I wanted versus what he wanted to do because it was more convenient. So I do believe that being your self-advocate is very, very important because if you're not, you're going to miss some things, you're going to be misled, and you might get a treatment that you didn't even need to get.
Mhm.
Thank
Which
you for that.
yeah.
That transparency is everything. And the theme really does seem to be advocating for yourself. And I think that's something that is universally applicable. I have some patients who don't process anything and they look to their partner or their spouse to take every note, to ask every question. And I think it's wonderful to have that support. But then when I say, what do you understand? Because I see, that person writing everything down, but what do you understand? And then they kind of just look and they look at their person and they're not able to process that, but to really to sit with it. Because if you don't process it now, I guarantee you it's going to come out and you're going to process it later on, and having to sit in that space of understanding what's going on in my body is a journey and it's a necessary part of that breast cancer experience, I think.
Mm.
I wanted to say that was one of the most challenging things for me as a single person. After my diagnosis, again, it's like getting on a roller coaster at, 90 miles an hour. And there were so many times that, I'm at appointments and I felt like, the lights are on, but nobody's home.
Hey.
I'm hearing this, but I'm not retaining information. And I just felt so shocked, so overwhelmed. It would have really been nice to have a partner to be there to hear those things, like you said, things that you're going to miss, because you're going to miss things when you're in that state. I did have family, friends that were able to come to some appointments, but, you know, we're all busy. People have, you know, jobs, lives, children. So, you know, family and friends can't be there for everything.
Yeah. You definitely shouldn't go alone if you can help it. And during COVID, so many of you guys had to go alone and be there. But just think about, I mean, I guess when I started thinking about just the whole concept of being single and, you know, having to do some of this stuff by yourself, I think about, you know, just the middle of the night or, you know, like, what do you know, what wakes you up at night? Does something wake you up? Or when you do wake up from something, what do you do about it? Or, you know, when you can see that thing over there that you really need, but you just don't have the energy, like Tancherelle right now, who just came out of chemo, you know, like, I just really can't go get the glass of water. You know, how do you think about that? Or, you know, you guys tell me, like, what do you think your biggest obstacles are? I mean, we all have these bad moments, right? Where you just feel like out of control, like you're just not yourself. And you feel like, I just remember times when, okay, Ricky, you have to go to the bathroom. All right, so sit your body up and like talking myself to the bathroom. Just put your feet on the floor, you know, try to stand up, but not too fast, and like try to take a step. But I mean, you'd have to talk yourself into doing stuff because you got to do it by yourself, right?
When I was in Georgia, I was by myself. I lived by myself, single then, single during, and single now. But I will say, I don't even know how I got to work one day. I just remember it being a blur. Like, I don't even know how I made it to work. It was definitely on a hope and prayer. And I feel like, you know, if I would have had someone there at the time to help me get to and from work, to take me grocery shopping, it definitely would have been a lot more convenient for me. Because, you know, I didn't feel anything on the day of chemo, but 2-3 days afterwards, it was just like a slap in the, yes. And so, you know, when I went to work, I was just, I'm going to drive. But I drove and I got there safely by the grace of God. But it definitely,
Did COVID help with better delivery, grocery delivery services and things like that? Was there anything good that maybe came out of that, this quarantine experience?
Well, I actually did the grocery. I didn't deliver groceries, but my job involved me packing the groceries for people to come get and Lyft to come get. So that's what I did. But it seemed like every time I would order Amazon, my order would come in wrong. I had a whole completely, totally different order that wasn't even my order. So I said, I have to go to the store. I have to go do my own shopping, or else I'm going to continue to get the incorrect items that I ordered. So
it's a really good point. I don't think they got it right till very far into the pandemic, and they still they still get it wrong.
Yeah, I couldn't do Instacart. Screwed me over too many times. I could never do it. Maybe because I also want to go look at the food that I'm going to cook, you know. But anyway, share a story. Somebody share a story.
Yeah, you know, one of the things that I would say is, I think, well, I had a niece who would try to sit me down, so she would come up in spite of it. That I didn't realize how naive I was around my body, surgery, medicine. I just felt like this is an inconvenience and I'm just going to keep on doing what I do. And so 3 weeks after the lumpectomy, I'm on this photography trip carrying 30 pounds of gear and walking 4, 5, 6 miles in a day, and you're not eating right. My body went into total crises. And it was only at that point that I said, somebody should have told me to sit myself down. Respect that your body needs to heal, and you're putting it under all of this stress when the only thing it should be focused on is healing. And so this was like a wake-up call for me, because you just do what you got to do and you do what you've always done. But I really have had to learn to have a relationship with my body and myself. And so it may be unfortunate, but I think I'll be better off because I now know how to listen to my body from nutrition and everything else, where before I can't say I was as attuned to it. So, but I think having someone around to tell me to sit down might have been a good thing, but I learned. So
It's hard to be dependent, though. It's hard to ask for help. It's hard when you don't, when that's not your normal, right? I mean, we all are these like badass, powerful women that do everything for not only for ourselves, but everybody else too, right? It's hard to sit down and say, hold on, I need a minute. And we have cancer.
That's my fear as a single person, is that I would alienate, if I had a partner, I might alienate that person because I'm so independent. I'm already so used to focusing on, I don't know how to let somebody else do anything else. But, you know, Linda, you're right in that the surgery for some people, depending on what surgery you have, there may be small scars. You may feel pretty good, but people make that mistake. We feel really, really good, and then we overdo it. And the healing takes place on the inside. It's not the scar, right? The scar is only the manifestation of the outward part of what happened to you, but so much that happened inward needs more nutrition than you ever thought, more healing, more sleep, more rest, more time than you really, really do think. Tansherelle, how you doing over there? You hanging in there?
I'm hanging in here. I'm just enjoying, the stories. One of the ladies said that, you feel this denial thing. I'm like, my sister's always saying that I'm in denial about what I can and can't do. I am a person who likes to do it all. I could not wait to get back into yoga. And for me, this whole journey has been mind over matter. Cancer has been in my way. Chemotherapy has been in my way. I had plans this year. I was diagnosed February. I went to the doctor, saw my primary care doctor at Slidell Memorial, told them, I feel a little lump in my breast, but I'm like, I've always had lumpy breasts. This can't be anything serious. So she measured, my breast with the tape measurer. And I'm like, really, that's how they do it? And she was like, I'll send you for a mammogram. Well, it started hurting when my cycle came down even more. And I'm like, what is this pain? Why do I feel this? Oh God, I'm scared. So I text my gynecologist, who's one of my good girlfriends. And I was like, I feel a lump, something's not right. Then she in turn told me that she was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2017. She's going to take this very seriously and schedule my mammogram right now. And I ended up getting my mammogram that same week. So go in, I'm like, let's do this. I never had one before. I'm like, I'm good. There's no way I could possibly have cancer, right? So do it. My 20-minute mammogram took an hour and 10 minutes because they were trying to be sure. Then had me go back and do it again. Then sent me into the ultrasound tech room for a breast ultrasound. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's lit. We're going to do some more, right? So go in there and my boobs are already extremely sore because they have squeezed the life out of them, and I'm like, okay, y'all not going to press me anymore. You're just going to rub it. She was like, yes. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, I'm game. So did it. And then lo and behold, I find out there's doctors at the ultrasound tech place. Did not know. She's like, the doctor's going to come in and see you. I'm like, oh, okay. He want to talk to me. I'm like, why? Didn't think that meant he needed to tell me something. So he comes in and he's like, I have to be honest with you. You want me to cut it straight? I'm like, yeah, no chaser. What is it? He's like, I think you have cancer. I said, a picture cannot tell you that I have cancer. You have to be able to do more. He's like, I've been doing this for a long time. I am almost certain that this is cancerous. And I'm like, you got to give me something better than that, doc. He's like, determined to prove to me, which I'm glad he challenged me. So he had me come in that Friday for a biopsy. So the whole weekend I had to wait. So I went in Friday, got the biopsy, had to wait the weekend. I was checking the patient portal every day. It was like Tuesday when they called and said, it was positive for cancer and had me come in and they hand me this folder saying cancer. And I'm just like, who is this for? And the lady's like, it's for you. And I'm like, wait a minute. This cannot be my life right now. I'm leaving next month. I had travel plans. I have stuff to do.
And you're
She's
38.
like,
You were 38?
Yeah. I was 38. I just turned 39 in May. Like cancer for my birthday. Really? I'm like, this is not cool at all. So I'm like, that's not the present I wanted. I was hoping for a new Louis Vuitton tote or a trip to, somewhere extremely nice, not cancer, because it really put a damper in my plans. I'm like, can I go to Barbados? Can I go to Jamaica? Not go get surgery. So I always said if I ever had a lump, I'm like, bump that. I'm going to get rid of both of them. I'm like, hey, let's do it. Let's take them all off. I'm like, I could buy new tits, right? So in my mind, without having cancer, it makes a whole lot of sense. But when you have to really go there and do it, you like, I kind of like them. I was like, we talked, we hung out, like, I was real good to them. I nursed my kids with these things. I'm like, I'm a little attached, literally. So I started to have an issue with this whole get rid of them idea. But then I knew that, like, after looking at the stats, it was the best way for me to ensure not having it again, right? So go there, I'm like picking my tits with the doctor. They had made it real fun, met the breast surgeon, met the plastic surgeon, we did the MRI and all that stuff, right? And they were like, it's 1.7 centimeters, you'll be good. So I'm like, okay, y'all talking like it's nothing, it's nothing. A week before surgery, my doctor called and said he saw something that was questionable. And if something goes wrong, they're going to have to do tissue expanders. Denial. I didn't hear that. I did not hear that. I'm like, I'm just thinking about my new tits. I'm like, I'm putting some D's up in here. They're going to be nice. I'm ready to go topless, So I'm excited. I'm like, I'm going to get my new boobs. The Lord made a way for me, provisions, free breast. I didn't have to go get nobody to pay for it. I have to finance these tires. I got them. So I'm excited. And I'm in there. I wake up and there's these hard things on my chest. I'm like, damn it, this is not what I paid for. And then I was like, wait, when it's free, you got to kind of get what they give you. So I'm like, maybe they'll settle, right? I was hoping that it wasn't what I thought, but I knew when my doctor walked up to me with this sad face, he looked like he was about to cry because I got them excited about my breasts. They were all happy to give them to me. So he was like, listen, Tan, something happened. And he gave me the bad news that, it was invasive. It was it was like 4 centimeters and all kind of drama was going on. It was a real assassin up in there. In the words of Ricky, my tits were really trying to kill me. I just didn't know. It was on a mission. So I had to accept that this happened. And in that moment, I embraced that I'm alive. I'm like, I'm here. And I'm like, okay, what should I do? And how can I be okay with what I have to go through? Because chemotherapy was the last thing I wanted. I was against it. It took me about 3 weeks to sign the paper to agree to treatment. I called a shaman in Jamaica. I went to see a Western medicine doctor. I called Texas. I'm like, do y'all have a better way? Can we do something else? I'm like, chemo is not my thing. I don't want it. And I was like, I'm healthy. I'm like, there are people eating fast food burgers and putting junk in their body. And I'm up here living a borderline vegan pescatarian life. I wasn't consistent, y'all. I have to be honest. I have ADHD. So I couldn't stick to one, but I was definitely making sure I was conscious of what I was eating. And I had to really accept it's not my fault. I didn't do this. I didn't ask for it. I don't think anybody would say, hey, sign me up for cancer.
Say that again.
Yeah.
I didn't,
Not your fault.
It wasn't my fault. And I had to accept that. And the closer I got to accepting it, I started to feel grateful for the opportunity because look at me, I have a sisterhood now. I have connected with friends that I didn't know I was, that I could count on them or rely on them. I finally got tired of a relationship that I had been in for a decade with this man who had the gift of gab, y'all. He was fine. He was supportive. He was good with me and the kids, but he was a philanderer. He had a whole nother life doing all kind of crazy stuff. And I had to accept that I really didn't want to be with him. And I gave him my good 30s. He's not about to take my 40s. And in a moment, I just said, I quit. And I walked up to him and was like, I'm not doing this shit no more. You could go. In the middle of treatment, after surgery, I'm like, I cannot. There's only room for one bitch in here. I cannot take you. You got to go. So I gladly ended it. And I did meet somebody else, y'all. I don't know if it's going to last, but he's definitely sweet. And if he's open to dating a chemo patient, I guess he might be all right.
You're more than a chemo patient.
Well, I am, but guys, y'all know I have to really laugh through it. Like I make jokes all day. I'm around here having hot flashes when the air is on like 60. You know, my head.
I'm surprised I'm not sweating right now.
You know, I'm sweating right now though, and I'm just talking to y'all. It's a workup. Like, you know, my little wig, I got like, I am literally bald under here. My nails are black. I haven't had a manicure. I can't get one, of course.
Can you get one?
You know, I'm just chilling. It's like, it's a take me as I am moment. This is the rawest I've ever had to be in my life. And I'm just thankful because I'm like, I got my 2 raggedy kids. I love them to death. You know, they drive me crazy, but they are every bit of me and I appreciate them. I had to think about if I was to go, would anybody want to take them? And I was like, no. So the Lord got to keep me here because they're brats. You know, I've kind of done a little too much with them. I need to get them together. They're not whipped in shape. So, and plus I told the Lord, the only way I can die is if my funeral is going to be on CNN because I made a great impact in the world, right? I can't go until that happens, you know? So like, I got
Where did you come from?
Need a whole stand-up routine. Tan, you got people in the chat cracking up. They are rolling on the floor laughing here. I love it.
I love it. I love it.
Really, Mr. Collins, honey.
Yeah. So that's it, y'all. So I got to be here because I can't go on CNN because I was kidnapped or taken. It has to be that I made an impact in everybody's life and they like, we showing up for her. So y'all got me for a while because I'm a long way from there.
That's right.
I love it. I love it.
We have questions from the chat and anybody can chime in on anything we're talking about, but we've had 2 questions along the same theme, which is one for family members. How can they show up to support you without being overbearing? Like how much is too much? And then we had another gentleman say, well, what as a Black man, what can I do to be supportive as a spouse or as a partner? Are there things that I can do just in the courtship and in the support process? So similar questions, but one from the family perspective. What can family members do to not do too much?
I think people don't want a lot of people there. Like, you know, it's like, I don't want people to see me looking crazy. My sleigh is important. I don't know about you guys, but you know, you can't just bombard your way into someone's house. You know, you need to do things that make sense. If they need groceries, you know, I mean, it's a struggle. You can't work. So if you're going through this process, you want people who can support. If someone can contribute to a light bill, gas bill, you know, or you know, just like buy you food or drop off something while you're in treatment, you know, those kind of things are not overbearing. Like ask what you need and compliment you. Cause I mean, you don't feel pretty or sexy or attractive, wanted, you know, I mean, losing your breasts or going through things with your body makes you feel like you're inadequate. So give me something that is going to make me feel good about myself, affirm me, send me messages that encourage me, you know, and pay attention to what I'm going through. You know, that's one way you can help someone who's going through it as a family member, as a spouse. You know, I mean, love on that person, you know, rub them without them asking, you know, find out with things that they like, pay attention, you know, and try to give them stuff that's going to bring them joy. Even if that's just time, you know, turning on the shower for them. You know, if you feel like you're wrapped up, your breasts don't look like they used to, your head is shaved, whatever your situation is, you know, the reminding you that you're beautiful is very, very important because you don't feel beautiful when you're going through this. You don't feel wanted, loved, or attractive. So, and I mean, even if you do, you ain't thinking about it. Like, you know, you have to be reminded that you are a woman, you're a warrior, and you're strong. So people need to understand that chemo sucks. It's a lot. It don't feel good. You know, like you need to be remembering that this and make notes for them. Like don't expect them to remember things because pregnancy brain was something, but chemo brain is a whole nother level. I just gotta say it.
You're nodding your head over there, Alonda, a lot.
I am struggling with chemo brain like nobody's business. But
Welcome to the
I
club.
wanted
It's
to
okay.
say, I think the best thing that people, family, or spouses or other loved ones can do is simply ask. You know, cancer is a wild journey. Needs can change by the day, by the week, by the month. You know, for example, when someone's preparing to have surgery, they might need certain supplies. I know for me, when I had chemo weeks, I like to stock up on food and get my house all cleaned and get errands out the way because I just wanted to be able to rest. But everyone is so different and everyone, struggles. Everyone has different struggles. If someone, I was fortunate, I didn't deal with any nausea, thank goodness. But if someone is sick, they might need, help preparing a meal that's gentle on the stomach. If someone's not feeling good, going to the pharmacy. That's one struggle I had. My pharmacy, they were always playing with me. They never had my medicine. I had to run back and forth. That was so irritating. So yeah, just I would say ask, and make more than just general statements. This is a chemo week or a surgery. Can I help purchase supplies? Can I make a grocery run? But yeah, be specific and yeah, just ask.
I will also say that don't assume something because you know someone who's had cancer or another type of cancer. I had someone tell me that, maybe you won't lose your hair with chemo. Well, because I have a lot of family members who've gone through this, and I'm a research junkie, so I research everything. And I researched my chemo drugs that I was going to be taking. I'm like, no, I'm going to lose my hair. And it's like, no, you won't. I'm just like, no, I'm going to lose it. It's okay. It's okay. It's hair. It's okay. So I think not assuming how and comparing what someone else is going through because everyone's journey is different. If I could have had someone bring me Imodium every hour of the day, that would have been great for me. Imodium was literally my best friend. I was going to the bathroom every 5 minutes. It was a struggle, especially at work. I braved it out and worked doing chemo. But I definitely not making any assumptions and not comparing because everyone handles everything differently. And just like the young lady said, we don't feel beautiful, but the one thing I did do, and maybe it's because of the family history, I did accept it and embrace my baldness. And I went and took pictures, professional pictures, and I sent those pictures out as Christmas cards. And one of those pictures is actually on the flyer. And I was just talking to another young lady who has cancer, and she did the same exact thing. And she said, I feel so much better now. I feel so beautiful seeing myself on the other end of it, the part that, we feel on the inside that we're not beautiful as well as the out. When you get yourself made up and my friend did my makeup for free. She came down on the weekend, I did my pictures and didn't even know it. And she's a cosmetologist. So she sat there and did my makeup, then charged me a dime. So, stuff like that, not just assuming that or even if we don't say anything that we don't need it, because like we said, we all used to be independent. It's okay to ask us, hey, what can I do for you? What do you need? Don't always wait for us to say something because we might be pride, or we might not want to bother anyone because like you said, everyone has a life. So I definitely do think that, being single comes with its cons, but there are also benefits too. Like when I was flat, I walked around flat, no shirt, didn't care, whatever. I was hot, had to cool down. That's just what I did. But I definitely do think that, when it comes to family and spouses, just ask and be there. You don't have to hover. We're fine. We're already burning up as it is on the inside. We don't need extra air being taken away. So just asking what we need and not waiting on us to say what we need. Sometimes we might be too weak to even talk. We might be asleep. So that's what I would say.
Linda's back there nodding. Linda's back.
Yeah, and I so in agreement with everything. But I was also thinking one of the things, if I could give a point of advice, was to meet me where I am. Like what was really important to me was not to be treated as if I was my illness, but I am Linda. And I am going through something right now, but I don't want what I'm going through to be the core of all our interactions and conversations. So the days that I need to talk about it, let me talk about it, but I don't want that to be at the core of every conversation because I just don't want to live in that space. because I'm still, I want to be all of me. And so some people were good at that, and then some people not so good. And so my little analogy where some people were, I viewed myself as a house. Some were in, some I pushed out, and some I put on the shelf. Because to me, information management and energy management was the most important thing that I could do to keep me kind of centered and grounded. And so for those who could meet me where I was, they were part of my in-group. And that's who I spent most of my time talking to, since I couldn't see them. But I just meet people where they are.
Meet them where you are. I love that.
Talk about that energy management. How do you
I
even,
love that.
how do you get to the place of it, and what does it look like?
Well, I think it's like, how do people make you feel? Right. And so you talk to, like originally, before we got on, I said, I didn't tell everyone that I had cancer. But as I started to tell people, you get people's reactions. And so for those who then were operating from a place of fear, in those conversations, I don't need that. So for now, I still love you, but you've got to be at arm's length.
You
I
said,
want people, right? I want people, so you're out right now. And then the people who are in are the ones who can meet me where I am, but I'm paying attention to how do I feel, right? So how do I feel after a conversation? Do I feel uplifted, encouraged? Do I feel like you got my back? Versus, am I spending more time trying to make you feel better?
Right.
Right? I don't need those
Right.
conversations, right? And so that for me then was just to become crystal clear on what I needed and what I was willing to accept. And so some of you said you left for relationships, said bye. I think you get this clarity as you're going through this stuff around what is it that you want to have in your life. And so that's what it was for me.
To piggyback off of you about the energy, I had someone ask me when I think I was doing chemo and radiation at the same time, but the second bout with chemo. They said, how can you be so positive and smile with everything that you're going through? I said, well, what is complaining going to do? What is being upset going to do? All of that's going to do is make everything worse. So I have to be positive and surround myself with positive people, because the last thing I need is for someone over here to be stressing me out. Oh, you about to die, you know, thinking the worst, making me anxious, making me fearful. So I told that person, the first things first, I have faith in God, and I know God's got me.
Yeah.
And he's not going to put too much on my shoulder that I can't handle. So I believe that, you know, even with the family history, I'm here to help make someone else's journey a little bit easier. Because, you know, a lot of times people don't research their type of cancer. I had a discussion with one young lady. She didn't even know what kind of cancer. She didn't know what she was. She didn't know her stage. So I'm here to help others. And I can't help nobody if I'm in a negative place or upset or mad. So that's, you know, I think energy really truly is a big thing. You know, we don't have that. We don't need that. We didn't need it before, but we definitely don't need it now.
but I hear you saying, I want to help somebody. Even when you're sick, you have cancer, you're trying to take care of yourself, you're still thinking about energy. I need to help other people. So that sort of that independence that we have is so ingrained in us that we have to do something for somebody else, right?
We are people of purpose. Somebody said in the chat, you have to encourage yourself because some people in your circle just don't understand.
Right.
Let's talk about scars and talk about pain and body dysmorphism, because another person said in the chat that body dysmorphia is a real thing, and it's real when you didn't have cancer, and it's real after surgery, and then after radiation, after reconstruction, and all the things. Let's start with Karen and talking about your journey a little bit and sharing some of the things you did to overcome it.
Well, you know, I don't know if I still overcome it yet.
That's all good.
It's just like, you know, you learn to accept it and embrace it. I don't think you ever overcome it, regardless of what you have done. I had a lobectomy, but you know, they went into me. I had surgery 3 times for them to get a clear margin because I refused to let them take my breasts. And so knowing that, you know, they took taken out a lot of tissue. I didn't have anyone to really talk to me and say, you know, he just told me, he said, okay, if I don't get a clear margin this time, I'm taking your breast, you know, because I was determined to keep my breast. You know, I didn't know the great details about getting expanders or getting reconstruction and all that stuff.
Because
And
nobody explained it to you properly, probably.
exactly. No one
Right,
explained it to
right,
me. You know,
right.
I'm just being rushed through this process. You got to do this, you know, and we have to do it real quick because it's aggressive. And you have a 25% chance of it coming back, you know. So this is all you hear and all this negative stuff.
Right.
So one breast, of course, is larger than the other. And it's kind of more to the other side, the nipple is versus centered. And I just decided, you know, I've been battling about it. Like, do I want to go ahead and have reconstruction now? And I just keep saying no, because I don't want to have any more surgery, regardless of how perfect I can look or how I can get these, you know, boobs. I just refuse to do it. And so I just live with it, you know, and anyone that comes along, they either accept it or they don't. Because I love it, I accept it, and I embraced it. I've learned to embrace it. But it was hard. It wasn't an easy thing to do, you know. And sometimes you get out and say, God, but you know.
But you found peace with it.
Yeah, I have found peace with it. Yeah.
But I
So-
think that's also, we have to find peace with everything about ourselves at some point, especially with if we're alone, right?
I think the more you love on yourself, the more people will love your body. You know, when you show them that you love your body and you accept your body and you're not ashamed of it, the man in your life or the woman in your life will not be ashamed of it either. You know, so it's just about embracing it and being happy about it. You know, you have women all the time walking around in short shorts, and they might not be the thinnest woman, you know, but they comfortable. They secure with themselves. So it's about being secure with yourself. And, you know, and having breasts all your life and having them taken away, regardless if you had a mastectomy, reconstruction, it still takes some use to get into and adjusting to it. So, you know, you'll get there one way or another.
Yeah.
Linda, I wonder if you could talk a little bit about the process. I know that you are a wellness coach, and you do a good bit of your work is around mindfulness. It's around centeredness and feeling and living a whole and balanced life. Talk about some of the lessons or some of the phases. Anything you want to share about that? You're on mute.
You're on mute.
Sorry. So I'm a certified meditation teacher. I'm an energy healing. And so all of that. So it was like, okay, now you got to bring this to life for you. Right. And what was so hard in the beginning was my own ability to tap in a way for myself. And so I increased my level of meditation. And so with that, it helped me get grounded. And I just immersed myself in self-care. So massages, acupuncturists, reflexologists. I'm like, I needed, I guess maybe because no one could come and hold you, I needed to feel touch. I needed to feel that sense of being soothed, almost like a mother would soothe a baby. And my mother's been gone over 30 something years, but I needed that. And so I just found the things that made me feel better, because it was just so important to me. I know that the healing hormones, I wanted to operate from a place that I was allowing my body to help heal, so that my mind had to be there. So I just intensified my practice. I do free meditations every Tuesday night live. The day of my lumpectomy was a Tuesday. I did meditation and everybody was like, what's wrong with your voice?
Wow.
And then nobody knew I had surgery that day, but it was an intense, powerful meditation. And I continued doing that throughout, because it was the energy of the others that really helped to lift me up. And so I felt the healing was occurring as I was working and also helping others with their journey. So, but it was a concerted effort to stay grounded.
So Linda, you said that you only told a limited number of people.
Yeah. And so in the beginning, so my family knew, my immediate, like my siblings and stuff. And then I was just debating on, when you tell people, why are you telling them? What are you looking for in return? What is the purpose of this? So how wide do you go? Because what are you expecting? So I just felt, it wasn't that I was ashamed, but it was every woman that was in my life, I wanted her to know. Because I wanted to make sure, get your mammograms,
Right.
especially with COVID. So many people had stopped going.
Right.
And I'm like, let me be a testament to the power of early detection.
Okay.
And so it was telling, whether it had a purpose for telling, but just to share with everyone. Many people, my meditation group never knew I had cancer until I finished my radiation. I just,
Wow.
it was
Okay.
just,
Wow. Wow.
yeah.
And I would imagine you're pretty close to your meditation group too. So it wasn't
Yeah,
talking to strangers. Anybody else kind of keep it to yourself? I told everybody.
I did. I had to hide it for a while. Or shall I say I tried? I tried to keep it private. I was afraid that people would see it as weak. You know, I thought that if my clients found out, if friends and family found out, if people knew, they wouldn't want to work with me, or they would
Wow.
treat me like I was invalid or something like that. So I hid it for as long as I could, but I found my power was in like accomplishing things in spite of it. So that has recently changed. I'm open, I'm talking about it, I post about it at this point. But originally, I didn't want anybody to know, because I'm like, who wants to hire a cancer patient? You know, which is what I told myself. Who wants to hire someone who has an ailment? And we spoke about, you know, like the energy to do stuff earlier. You know, I'm like, my therapist told me that, you know, we function off of the spoon theory. And she's like, the average healthy person has 45 spoons or 48 spoons. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. But you only have 12. So blank face. I'm like, why I only get 12? I need more than 12 to function throughout the day. If my spoons are cooking, cleaning, and all of this other stuff, and I only got 12, that means I'm gonna be done real fast and I gotta go to bed. So, you know, I'm like, I can't tell my clients this, because they're going to be like, how are you going to function with 12 spoons and provide and show up for me?
Right.
You know, so I hid it. And then I learned that once people realized that I was going through this and I was still closing deals, kicking ass and making things happen, you know, they were praising me for my ability to do it. And even though they may have wanted to kind of treat me a certain way, they feel like I'm strong and this warrior woman who's looking like nothing's wrong, when really, you know, I mean, it's a mind over matter situation for me. That's all I got.
Wow. 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 Mind over matter can be powerful, but that chemo still will kick your butt, right? So how can we leave some tools with people who are watching? You know, how like, what's your best coping tool when you're sort of by yourself, and either you don't want to tell anybody, or you don't want to be bothered, or you just don't have anyone to tell?
I have a journal. I've been journaling for a very long time, but now I have a separate journal. I have a breast cancer journal, and then my regular smuggler journal. So I have my breast cancer journal where I write about my journey, how I'm feeling. My biggest thing for me, honestly, right now is the body dysmorphia. You know, I thought I was going to get my dip flap and come out with Beyonce's stomach, and that was not the case. So the weight thing that bothers me, but I write about it. And knowing that it's not me, my medication is keeping me from losing weight. Medication is causing this acne. My medication is causing this joint pain. I had to step back and just realize that it's not me.
Not you.
So journaling helps me. And then my best friends have been absolutely amazing. And one of them is a PA in Charlotte. So, you know, she helps me with stuff. And I call her like she's my personal doctor. Like, girl, this is what's going on. Can you tell me what this means? They gave me this medication and I don't know how to pronounce it. So she'll let me know and help me out there. So journaling and being open about it. And never in a million years, I think that being open about it, you get so much support and love from strangers. So because my job was great. I didn't tell them. They actually found out because I kept cutting my hair short because I knew my hair is going to come out. And someone made a comment and he said, "Oh, you're going to end up being bald." And I said, "In fact, I really am." He's like, "Well, what do you mean?" I said, "Well, I have breast cancer." So
Wow.
from there, it kind of trickled down. And they threw big parties for me. They, you know, got donations for me. It was just the support you get when you open yourself up is amazing.
Right. Right. Here's a hug for you, my breastie.
Oh, thank you.
And I wanted to add of support groups. I think is really important because, you know, spouses, family, friends are great, but there is nothing like connecting with people who understand issues like body dysmorphia, fatigue, fear of recurrence, you name it. And I know I have found that it's other breasties. You know, the newbies, like, they're carrying us, you know, they're helping us make it through this journey. And I feel like it's my job now to carry somebody else.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great. Because you got carried.
I strongly recommend what Linda was saying, because I did it, is acupuncture, massage therapy, flexology, all this stuff helps you. And changing your diet, you know, eating a lot of green vegetables and drinking plenty of water. And the most important thing is rest. If I had it to do all over again, I probably would have went on leave, you know, disability, you know, because you don't know how, as y'all spoke earlier, important it is to be still and let your body heal, because we will continue. I continue to work the whole time. I got down to a size 2, and you know, I didn't realize how thin I was until I saw some pictures. I knew I had to buy different size clothes, but I never stopped, you know, so that's very important.
Yeah, I think therapy helps too. I got in therapy because you need a place where you can be honest, you know, about how you're feeling. So having a therapist specific to what's going on in your life right now is a necessity. You need somewhere you can really like unpack what's going on with you physically, emotionally, mentally, so that you can be honest, cry, and not have to be that person that's strong all the time who is making it barely. You know,
Right.
you can be truthful about that. So I found therapy to be very, very useful, and meditation, you know, like combating those thoughts, because you do wonder if you're going to get it again. You do wonder if you're going to die. You do wonder if it's metastasizing on the inside, or if this is working or whatever, or if people are looking at you funny, you know, like, do they see what, you know, what's going on with me? You have all of these things going on. So I found meditation to help me to stay aware of the fact that I'm going to be okay on a daily basis. No matter what's happening, I am going to be okay. You're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. So meditation and therapy, get someone who is trained professionally to help you navigate through what's going on, because these are natural feelings, natural things, and nothing's wrong with you to feel how you feel. Your family cannot be the only soundboard you have. You need someone who's not directly connected emotionally to what you're going through. So I suggest that.
Great. All good stuff here.
I love that. Can I invite you ladies back in a few months so we can talk about a little bit more? Maybe do a doctor after dark, talk about intimacy and vaginal dryness and hot flashes and some of the other things that you are facing in your journey, whether you're partnered or single, right? How do you get your groove back? In times when you might not quite feel good in your body, you know, and how do we get to
Right.
feeling good
Right.
in our bodies? So I want us to focus on some tips, some tricks, some solutions, and bring some of those very real challenges to the conversation as well. So if you would join us, I would love to have you back, and we can definitely talk about some of these things.
Yeah, I actually put I put our touch talk in the comments. our next Touch Talk, we meet on the first Saturday of every month at 11 a.m. Eastern time. And we talk about all of this stuff. So join us, you guys join us from the audience. And I put the link in the Zoom link in the chat. And if you get our e-blast, you can email me at Ricky@touchbbca.org and we'll make sure you get the information. But
Real quick,
you guys are awesome.
how can people reach you? Linda, I know you have a group. If people are interested in joining that group or meditating with you or getting some coaching and some of the services you provide, how can they reach you?
Well, my website is lindamarshall.org. So on that, it lists the schedule of things, the workshops and things like that. So it's lindamarshall.org. Every Tuesday night at 9, we're on Zoom, meditating live. So I do a talk, then we meditate. So it's a nice community.
Great.
Anybody else want to share their contact information for advocacy, for support? If you have services that you're providing, let's call it. How can people get in touch with you?
I can be contacted via Facebook as Chardell Artist. Still working on some other stuff. When I get the other stuff set, then I'll have additional services. But right now, just Chardell Artist on Facebook.
And my handle on all my social media is Tan Sharelle, TANCHARELLE, for YouTube and for Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I'm on all of them, and you can just find me by my first name.
We're gonna find you on TV. You funny.
I know, right?
It's really funny, you guys. I'm writing a book right now documenting. I've been writing all my little jokes out. My uncle's silly. He's like, I'm managing your comedy career. He thinks that I should travel and do it, but laughter's been my thing. I strongly believe that you have more power in laughter than you do in tears. So not that I don't cry, but I'm laughing while I'm crying too. Okay. So I do have some really funny stuff coming. I'm putting together a comedy book around all things cancer, and how it's been in my way. And also, how I feel. I got the dancing with the pole for the infusion, the plug-in port situation. I have all kind of cool, funny scenarios and just unpacking it. Tissue expanders, what they feel like, and the discomfort, those rocks that are on your chest. So I have a lot of good stuff, that helps like people to feel better about what's happening right now in the season, because, you can cry about it or you can laugh about it. Like I said, I chose to laugh, and I hope that I can be joy or spark joy in the lives of others with my situation, because I feel like, you need to know you're in it with other people and there's someone who understands.
Yeah. You guys are awesome. I know. Alon, did you want to give out your info, or they can come through me?
Yes, Facebook, just under my name, Alonda Christensen, ALLANDA, last name CHRISTENSON, and I'm gonna just check my Instagram. Sorry, I'm newer to Instagram, y'all. That is ACHRIS13.AC. That is my Instagram name. I have not made it to any other social media platforms at this time. Perhaps in the future.
And Karen, I put you down as Nirak. Karen.
I just put it in the chat for you all. It's Nurik Natural Essence _LLC, and that's NERAK Natural Essence _LLC.
Thank you all so much for joining us. We hope this has been relatable and reliable and real. It's what we set out to do every single Wednesday night here on blackdoctor.org. And we hope that it touched somebody, helped somebody, and look forward to the conversation as it continues in Touch Talk and as it continues here on Wednesday nights. Thank you to our sponsors. And we just look for you guys to join us again as you're part of our family and our network now. So you've been touched by
I know. It's so great to meet all you guys and have you here and give you lots of breasty love. And you guys are like fierce warriors, and keep fighting like a girl, Tan Sharelle. We're all praying for you, girl, to get through this chemo. Yes. And you guys, if you're in the DC area this weekend, we're going to be at Ubiquitous Hair Show and in a big way. We have Breasties coming to sing and talk and hang out. So if you're in DC, come, go to ubiquitous.com and get tickets, or, it's all over our Facebook and stuff. And we'll be there partying, talking about Gwen We Trial.
Right.
So
Wow.
thank you. Love
Bye,
you.
ladies.
Love you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Breasty love.
Breasty love. Breasty love. Thank you, sponsors. Thank you,
Yeah.
Evangeline, Genetic, and Hello Jick, and all of our partners. Thank you.